Hello, sorry to burst in on you like this, but I do need to give a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I have got some of the rules wrong, so I will put the proper rules into the description just below. But in a nutshell, the rules that I got wrong is one, priest can score more than one criminal, so you can share a priest around criminals as long as they're adjacent. The other rule was that priests don't cancel each other out in the scoring, so if you've got more than one priest on a level, they do just score 2 points. They don't cancel each other out and score 0 points. And the last one that I got wrong, that I know of so far, is that if you've only got one space to dig in the graveyard, you can still dig. Usually you dig 2 spaces, but if you do dig one card, what you do have to do though is you have to place that one card you've dug. You don't get a choice. Okay, so those are the rules errors. Sorry for that. I'll get out of your way and you can watch the rest of the playthrough. I love the game. It is a great game. Did enjoy it, even though I made it harder for myself, and with those scoring errors I actually lost. But enjoy the playthrough, and I'll speak to you again soon. Okay, bye.
Hello and welcome to this playthrough video of this game, soon to be released button shy game called Skulls of Sedlec, and this game is designed by Dustin Dobson, and it's published by button shy games here, and it's going to be kickstarted soon. This game was originally a contest entrant. It's actually a contest runner-up for one of the button shy competitions of creating an 18 card game based on a real life location. So Sedlec is a place in the Czech Republic where they have a chapel or a church that has real life sculptures there. So this is where they I would look it up if you'd like to know more. As this is one of my videos, I'm going to be kind of previewing or playing through the solo mode that comes with this game, Skulls of Sedlec. It's kind of a solo expansion. There's 18 cards. As you can see, there's a big kind of table presence with this game, and actually we're going to have to change the use a different format for this playthrough, or a particular format. Now the solo mode has been co-designed by Dustin Dobson and the solo genius that is Mike Mullins. They've created this solo expansion, which is 6 cards, which you get for free if you back the Kickstarter. Otherwise it'll be generally it's about an extra $2 or $3 on top of the price of the game. Also with the Kickstarter, and I don't have a copy of it here, is an extra 6 card expansion called the Executioners, which adds in some Executioner skulls, which will change the game up and keep it fresh and keep it all different. So the idea is that this is generally a 2 to 3 player game. Like I say, with this solo expansion, that takes it down to 1 players if you want to. With the extra Executioners expansion, that takes it up to 4 players. So a wide variety of player counts for you. In the 2 to 3 players, it's you're playing against each other to build the best kind of skull sculpture possible. Let's have a quick read of some of our kind of overview here. So the Black Plague and Hussite wars have overcrowded the graveyard. Help the bone collector, a half-blind monk, by exhuming graves and arranging the skulls inside the crypt. We are novice monks competing to create the best arrangement of skulls. Dig up graves from the graveyard to reveal cards. Take cards into your hand to collect skulls, and arrange the cards from your hand into the stack. Whoever better hones the deceased last wishes, honours the deceased last wishes, will score more points. The bone collector will then judge each player's completed stack and declare one as the most exceptional. Now obviously, because we're playing solo, that means we're not competing against anybody, and it also means that we are creating a stack, and this is what we call our skull stack. I'm going to break this all down when we start playing. And in the solo mode, you also have to create what we call a feature or monstrance. Well, we call it a feature, and one of those features is the monstrance. And so these features are in one of these shapes in the expansion, the proper solo expansion. This is just my print and play, my rubbish print and play here. In the proper solo expansion, you get 6 different shapes that you will have to make as your kind of feature. And on the flip side of the cards, there are these different kind of rules that change your scoring. So these would be on the back side here. Unfortunately, I've only got one of these kind of rule changing rules. So this is, like I said, this is the Kickstarter's currently going. It's the 18th of March. So this is a print and play copy. It's not a review copy. I was sent the files and I printed it out and cut them all out. Now, when you're placing the skulls, every different skull, we've got different types of skull. This is our priest type skull, and they score depending on, as long as there's only 1 per level. And although there's 2 skulls per card, a level is kind of a half of a card. So in our stack, we have 4 cards, 3 cards, 2 cards. So we end up with 6 levels in our stack here. When you're stacking, you can only stack on top if you've got 2 cards below to support it. So I couldn't put a card there because it needs the 2 cards to support it, but we'll go through those. So we've got priests who scored 2 points and if they're the only one on the level, and we've got royals who score 1 point per royal or peasant who's below them. We've got romantics here, and if you stack them next to adjacent to another romantic, and adjacency is like this or like this. This is not adjacent into corners to corners. Then you get 3 points each, so you get 6 points for placing romantics together like that. We've got criminals, and you get 2 points for them if you put them adjacent to a priest. So again, they need to be adjacent to a priest or below a priest. And then we have peasants, and peasants are just happy to be in the stack at all, that they've been chosen, so you just get 1 point per peasant that's in your stack or your feature. So in the solo mode, we end up creating a stack and a feature, and we dig our cards up out of a graveyard. So it's all good fun in there. So I'm just having a quick look, make sure got enough space. Like I say, there's quite a lot of table presence, and that's one of the things Button Shy always pride themselves in, choosing games that are small, like so 18 cards, but can have a big table presence there. So let's gather up all the cards. Now when we place cards, you can't change the orientation of the cards at all. The skulls have to be the right way up at all times, so you can't change them to twist them or anything like that. So we're going to play with those. I'll shuffle them in a minute. So we've only got this one scoring condition, and it says it's tough love, so romantics in the stack do not score. So when I'm creating my stack and my feature, I'm gonna need to make sure I try and put my romantics in the feature where they can score, because any romantic, regardless of how I place them, won't score any points if they're in the stack. Okay, so We'll put that up there just to kind of remind us if that's going on. Maybe over this side, kind of out of the way. And so I've only got these 3 different shapes, and as you could see, the monstrance didn't fit in picture, so we're not going to use that. And the archway is really wide, like that's well, we're talking 7 cards wide there, so that doesn't fit in the picture either, so that's gone as well. So we're going to be, our feature is going to be in this shape. Usually if you had the proper cards with the backs and things, what you would do is you would shuffle them up, choose a shape of the feature, and then kind of shuffle them up again, choose another one, flip it over, and that's your would be your extra rule that you'd have to abide by. So in the actual proper published solo mode, there'll be six of these feature shapes and 6 of those scoring conditions there. Okay, so we'll put that over here as well, just to remind us of the shape that we are creating. Okay, so not that it matters much, but just shuffle up my cards here. Now in the so there are some fairly significant kind of rule changes from the 2-player game to the solo. One of them being in the 2-player game, you create a graveyard, what we call a graveyard, by dealing out stacks of six cards, and then you keep going, and that's your graveyard. In the solo game, we have 4 cards in our graveyard. So let's fill the graveyard up with our skulls, ready to be exhumed. So they're not even stacks, because obviously 18 doesn't divide into 4 evenly, so 2 of these stacks, and there's these 2 at the bottom that are got extra cards in. Now to start the game off, we need to flip 2 of the skull cards. We call that digging in normal gameplay, but in the setup we just flip 2 of the cards. Okay, and then we have to place one of those cards into either our stack or our feature. Okay, so, well, if I put this into my stack, the romantic definitely won't score any points. Okay, so that pretty much needs to go into my feature. But if I put it in my feature, you see here, this is my anchor card, so this is the first card you have to place in the feature, and then the rest you can build up. The romantic can't be adjacent to anybody if I put it in there at that point, so it won't score any points in my feature either. Now the trouble is, with this card, the royal, I need to get most points by placing the royal as high up in either the stack or the feature as you can, because you get points per peasant or royal that's below them. And so that's fine, the priest would be fine there. So in this case, to start off, I'm going to place, so I'm going to have my stack this side and my feature over here. So in this case, I'm going to put my place my first card here. So that's the setup. Okay, now in the 2-player game, you have a choice of doing one of 3 actions: either digging, which is flipping over cards, collecting, which is taking cards into hand, or stacking, which is then putting cards from your hand into your stack. in the solo game, there's no hand. We don't hold any cards in our hand. So we only have the dig option, the dig or the stack. Okay, and again, the dig option is quite different than in the two-player. In the solo, when you dig, you flip 2 cards, and then you have to place one of those 2 cards into one of your stack or your feature. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I don't really want to put this into the feature, and I don't really want to put it into the stack because of the romantic. So I'm going to flip 2 cards. I'm going to dig, and then I'm going to have to use one of those 2 cards in in one of my stacks, I think. So again, I've got romantics coming up at the bottom here again, so I don't want to put it in the stack, I don't want to put it in the feature, so I'm going to have to place this one. And now, but this one, it's got a royal right at the bottom, so again the royals have come up at the wrong time really for me, but placing it in my stack will put it below this royal, so at least this royal will score 1 point because it will have 1 royal below him. Now I can place it either to the left or to the right at this moment. Remember, I need 4 cards across the bottom, but once I place it next to here, I can't place it, say for example that's in position 1, I can't place it in position 3 with a gap in the middle. It has to be either to the left or to the right. So I'm going to have to think. Not sure it matters too much at this stage. Maybe I might still be able to get a criminal in the bottom half of a card that I might be able to put next to that priest. So I'm going to put that in there, and at the moment those are my 2 middle cards in my stack, the bottom of my stack. Okay, so now, so that's my first turn. So again, I've got the choice to either take a card and collect a card and put it into one of my places, or dig again. Now remember, when I dig, I'm going to dig, if I dig these 2 cards, I can only place one of these 2 cards. I can't flip them both over and then choose to place one of those ones. I have to place one of the ones that I've just flipped. Okay, so I'm digging again. Right, another royal as well. I'm going to try and save that royal, although that is a criminal which I could put down here to score some points, but I'm going to at least try and push this royal and get this royal up a little bit higher. This is quite a good one. Now if I put it here, that means it won't, these 2 won't score because they're not exclusively, they're not in the row on their own. There's 2 of them in there, so neither of them score 2 points. So it scores 0 points for them, and this one would score 2. Whereas if I put it up here, at the moment this would score 2, that would score 2, and that would score 2, because they're all on unique on their rows. I could put it into my coat of arms, my feature, and it's likely again that they would both score 2, but then this one would never be able to score anything. It's kind of best to put if I can get a peasant in the bottom half of a card, it's best to put it there. But as you can see, if I take one of these cards, I can't dig because I have to flip over 2 cards, so I will have to place another one of these cards somewhere. Okay, so I think, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put this priest as my first card in my feature, so that I can then start placing some of these romantics in here. Because if I place a romantic above it, then I've got positions where I could maybe get a romantic either side of them. Okay, so I am going to place this into my feature. Now again, like I said, I can't dig anymore because I can't dig 2, so I need to at least place another card, and then maybe I can dig again. So do I want my peasant or my criminal? I need a criminal at the bottom, but then that's got a royal above them. Let's put this one here. I'm going to put this one here. At the minute, none of these, well, these two are scoring 2 each. He's scoring 2 points, he's not scoring anything. He's scoring 1 point and he's not scoring anything at the moment. So they're not doing too well. Kind of the threshold for at least kind of being in the scoring in the, and these might change. But at the moment, I need to get a minimum of 60 points to kind of have been a success. And the more points you get, the better the grade you kind of get from the bunker. I always like to have more options, although if I flip these, I don't really want to place either of those because I'm not really going to score many points from either of them. So can I flip and flip? Okay. So now I'm thinking that I'm either going to put, I could put that twin kind of criminal over here, and he would, at least one of the criminals would be adjacent to a priest, and if I could get a priest at the bottom I could put it on top and maximise that up. Or I was thinking of putting this card into my stack, because then at least the peasant is below this royal and I'll get a point there. Yeah. Well, I'm going to kind of have to do 2 of those moves anyway, aren't I, really? So I'm going to put peasant here. Okay. So I'm going to soon run out of room. I might have to get rid of those cards in a minute. So now I've done my placing from digging, so now I can just collect and place. I could place any of these cards anywhere. I think that putting this card over here maximises my chance a little bit of scoring some points there. I'm going to put the coat of arms on the top here. Maybe that will stay out of the way if it's up there. Okay, so now do I want to place any of these cards? Not at the moment, so I'm going to flip again. Aha! That's quite good. So I've got a criminal, so I could put this one here and score 2 points here, but get in my romantics. Romantics can really boost your score because you get 3 points per romantic, but that creates a 6. So it's either 0 or 6 points for romantics. So I think I'm going to place this card here. So at least I'm getting 6 points there. Gonna get, you always pretty much, there are 8 peasants in the deck, so you always get 8 points for the peasants because you stack. You always place all of the peasants. This time, so again I can't dig because I've not got any spaces. I need to be able to dig too. So I'm going to place this criminal and peasant here. Okay, so now the next thing, I didn't this turn, but I could have been building up. As long as I could had 2 cards or 2 skulls to support the skull on top, I could have been building up, but actually as it's fallen, I think it's best to place this card here. It's going to get 2 points by being next to that priest. This peasant isn't going to contribute to this scoring of either of these royals here. So the next thing, was going to try. You see, I can't put this romantic here. It's not going to score 9 points because they have to be paired up. A romantic, you know. We're not that open-minded. So just pairs in our romantics. Again, this has kind of really hampered me drawing these ones first, and I've got massive stacks underneath them. So I think I am going to dig again, but I'm going to run out of cards soon in these stacks. Yep, that's my last card in that. So what have I got? I'm really struggling here. I know. Yeah. I'm going to place this card because it's a peasant and it's got a priest on the top. I'm going to put it over here because this then has 3 or 6 skulls on this side. So 3 cards. So then if I put this card with the royal and the criminal will be sitting on next to the priest, so that will score 2 points, and the royal will have at least 2 peasants below them. So and we could potentially get more, so that's going to be as high up as that royal could possibly get. So I'm going to place that over there. Okay. And then I'm going to place this one over here. There's my tough love card. Just put that over here, just to remind me. Obviously when you're playing you're going to have more space and things like that to put things. Actually, we can't really see that there. We'll put it over here for the moment. We might need to move it. So again, I can't dig. I've only got 1 empty space. I'm going to have to place one of these 2 cards. I'm thinking that it's going to need to be I could put this card in here, adds another peasant below that royal, also gives me a criminal and gives me the opportunity to get a priest next to them, or I could put this one here and it gives me the opportunity to get another romantic potentially next to them. There, I don't know how many, forget, there is, as you get to know the game better, you get to remember how many of each of the cards you've got left, of each of the skulls. So let's just put, I'm going to put this one over here. It needs to go in the feature anyway because it's a romantic, and it would definitely score 0 points over here, but if I put it over here I might get some points out of it. So now let's dig. Yes, that's what I wanted. Oh, both. And that also, if I put that there, now it will score, it'll help one of these 2 to score 2 points. They don't both score 2 points, only one of them, and it gets my romantics there next to each other. Brilliant. Okay. So now I need to place one of these 2. Let's place this card. I'm going to place it here, potentially. Maybe there's some more. I might have used up all the priests, but maybe there's another priest that can come here and can be adjacent to these cards here. I kind of need 2 priests at the bottom, really. I think it's going to struggle unless, yeah, that wouldn't work, I don't think. So flip my cards. That priest is in the wrong place. And again, more criminals. Okay. So that was the romantic is there, but again, I haven't got any more space. I can only place one more card in my feature, so I'm going to lose those points anyway for that. And there's no point putting a priest up here. Actually, I haven't been looking at that. We'll get in 2 points for each of these priests because they're all unique on their rows. So let's put let's just put one of these cards with a criminal on, which is really stuffing me up at the minute. But if I put this here, at least it's a peasant. It's going to kind of score double because it's under the royal and it's there anyway. Okay. So actually I finished the feature, so all the rest of these cards I'm going to have to place into my stack, and the next one really is going to need to be here. I haven't got opportunity to dig, so let's place this these skulls here. Gives me a couple more options. I've got 3 more cards to place. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I need to put this one here. At least it's going to, one of these criminals is going to score 2 points. And then these 2 cards are going to go, one of them is going to go here, so that criminal's next to, adjacent to that skull there, and then this one has to go here. Okay, and this is good. This royal's up quite high. It's got lots of royals and peasants below them. Unfortunately, this peasant isn't below them there, so we need to then score it up. Okay, so we count up the peasants. So as I said, there's 8 peasants in the deck, so you always get 8 points for the peasants. So we got 8 there. Royals. Okay, so 1 point per royal or peasant that's below them. So this royal is going to score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this royal is going to score 1, 2, so that's 7, and this royal doesn't score any, and this royal is going to score 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 plus 4, 11. So 11 for my royals. Okay, so my priests, then they all score here, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Maximum points from the priests. Excellent. And the romantics, so 6, 12. 12 from the romantics. And then my criminals, so 2 points for him. And now one of these 2 scores 2 points. So 4. And then 6, he's adjacent. So then this one, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So 12 for my criminals as well. So let's have a look. So let's add up. 10, 18, 19, 40, 50, 59. 1 point away from that magic 60 points. As you can see, there's lots of decisions and strategy and thinking ahead in this game. Great game from Button Shy and Dustin Dobson. The Skulls of Sedlec. And thanks for watching and have a great day.